Ladies and gentlemen, the world is facing a helium shortage. Now, most of us know helium from party balloons, right? But it's so much more uses for helium than just balloons. So, there is a global helium supply shortage. And they said this is getting worse. Helium is the second most common element in the universe, isn't just the key ingredients for party balloons, how they float, but it also is used to cool MRI machines and scientific equipment. It enables semiconductor manufacturing. It also is responsible for lifting the weather balloons that are used by meteorologists. Because of the shortage, the U.S. National Weather Service is curtailing weather balloon observation. Scientists are shutting down experiments, and the University of Nebraska football team has announced it will tragically stop releasing hundreds of red balloons every time it scores a touchdown to ensure the school's medical system has enough helium to treat patients. This is the fourth worldwide helium shortage since 2006. One, the gas industry has dubbed helium shortage 4.0, like helium shortages 1.2, I'm sorry, 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. This crisis has caused by a handful of unexpected supply disruptions in a heavily concentrated helium production industry, but ultimately, all four shortages trace their roots back to, they're talking about, there was a time around 1996 where Congress privatized the U.S. National Helium Reserve. And they said from that point on, they've been having shortages. Helium is produced as a byproduct of natural gas refinement at 14 plants around the world. Over the past few months, disasters have struck the largest of these plants, disrupting supply and creating a helium shortage. In January, a gas leak forced a U.S. helium plant in Cliffside, Texas, to shut down for emergency repairs. 4 months later, the plant remains closed, knocking out about a third of the world's helium supply. At the same time, Russia, fuel giant Gazprom, completed a massive new helium plant in the far eastern city of Amur in September. But in October, a fire, and in January, an explosion badly damaged the plant, forcing it to shut down until at least the end of 2022. The industry analysts had hoped that the Russian plant at Amur would start producing up to three times the world's annual helium consumption and would help ease the world's recurrent helium shortages. So, look like the US and Russia, as far as producing helium, they are out. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, two of the three helium plants in Qatar, which produce about a third of the world's helium supply, shut down for routine maintenance in February and March, although they are back online now. Until the 1990s, the US maintained a massive strategic stockpile of helium, but the stockpile was expensive to maintain. So, as a cost cutting measure, the US Congress passed the Helium Privatization Act of 1996, which forced the federal government to sell off its helium reserves at below market prices because the US government was flooding the market with cheap helium. Private industry had no economic incentive to expand helium production or recycle projects that would have increased supplies. Meanwhile, the explosion of consumer electronic lead to an increase in demand of helium in semiconductor manufacturing. In 2006, the demand exceeded supply, and the world entered a helium shortage. Over the past 16 years, the global economic has faced frequent helium shortages as private industry struggles to increase helium production to meet demand. Congress passed a new law in 2013 which slowed the sale of U.S. helium reserves and allowed the federal government to auction the gas for a market price in effort to stop distorting the helium market and give private companies an incentive to build new plants. Now, the final sale of the U.S. government helium is scheduled for September. After that, the federal government will sell its helium facilities, and the world's helium supply will finally fully be in the hands of the private market. So, I don't know, I guess if you're having parties and you require balloons, and you may have to use your lungs. So, y'all, please tell me what you think about this story. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.